Hello everyone, I'm Millie with a CA, also known as Milita, or better known as just Millie, and welcome back to my channel. If you watched my last video, you'll know that I just finished an internship with the Royal Institution, which was 3 months long, and now I'm back doing my PhD, and I'm in my second year. So I'm back in the workshop, or this is the workspace, the workshop is over there, I'll show you at some point. But yeah, I'm back doing my PhD research now. What you might not know is that the day before I left for my internship, I broke my entire project. So we're off to a good start, is what I'm saying. For a bit of context, my research is on using drones for ecoacoustic monitoring, which basically boils down to eavesdropping on birds with drones. So yes, I do have my own drone. Here he is, in pieces. This is Poe. So everyone say hi. Yeah, he's not doing so good at the moment because I was supposed to be doing an outdoor trial literally the day before I left for my internship. But unfortunately, as these things often go with engineering projects, I destroyed the drone the morning of. What actually happened was that I decided the morning of that I needed to take the propeller guards off. So there were like guards on this, where the motors were, there were like guards like this. And I was worried that they were going to block the view of the camera, which I think was a very intelligent thing to realise. The somewhat unintelligent thing that I did was that I took off the propeller guards without remembering that when I put them on, I used some screws with higher thread because they need to be longer to get through the extra layer of the propeller guard. When I took them off, I forgot to switch back to the shorter thread screws, and so the long screws were touching the insides of the motors, and when I turned the motors on, it short-circuited the entire thing and essentially fried poor Poe from the inside. So that's not great. Not only did all of the motors get destroyed, but also the electronic speed controllers, which are inside here. Some of them got destroyed too, so I have to replace them as well. The electronic speed controllers, they translate like the information from the flight controller to the motors, tell them how fast to spin depending on what speed we're going at. They're very important, basically. They're also soldered to the power distribution board, so step 1 is take the frame apart, step 2 is unsolder everything, and then step 3 is resolder everything. So it's going to be quite the job that I caused for myself, and I'm going to take you along with me. So welcome to the chaos that is my PhD. Hopefully it'll get better soon. So this is Poe. As you can see, he's not looking too hot at the moment because he's not got his legs, he's not got his motors. Well, he's got his motors, but they're meant to be on the legs. So I'm going to start by first taking apart the entire frame, removing literally everything. It's going to be in pieces, my poor son. And then I'm going to get to work with desoldering the power distribution board, which is here, because all the electronic speed controllers are attached to it, and I need to replace those. So yeah, get ready to see that. And we're back. It's been taken apart. Well, not fully taken apart, but I took off all the like legs and the tops separate now, so I have access to the power distribution board, so I can unsolder these bits here, which is going to be a bit annoying because there's like a bunch of other stuff that's soldered on there already. It's a little bit fun, but I have to take off these bits, these 4 basically, because they're all attached to these, which are the ESCs, the electronic speed controllers. They are, I'm not sure that all of them are broken, but at least like 3 of them are broken, I think. So I might as well just replace all of them because I bought 4. So might as well, and then I'll have a spare one if I need it. But it is a different like connector on here, so I'm probably going to have to do some more soldering on that as well. But that's okay, one thing at a time. And the first thing is this, which is desoldering this and putting the new ESCs on. Here are the new ESCs, so I need to put these on, and then I have a bunch of new motors as well in these boxes, which I need to attach on as well. So yeah, I will check back in once I've gotten all of the ESCs off, or maybe I'll actually record some of me soldering, but no, right now it's lunchtime, so I'll think about it after I eat. Hello, just had lunch, and now I'm realising that the connectors are completely different on the new motors and the new ESCs. Actually no, sorry, they're not different on the new ESCs, but they are different on the new motors. So if you look at this, this is one of the new ESCs, and it has this type of connector, which I actually need to find out what they're called. I think they're called bullet connectors. So that's the ESC. The new motor has, oh, I'm gonna break them already, has this type of connector, so not a bullet connector, which yes, I could just cut both and then solder them together, but I do kind of want the option of being able to pull out the motors to replace them easily rather than having to resolder it every time that one of the motors breaks. So I might have to put off actually installing the new motors until I can find some bullet connectors like these ones, like the old ones from the previous motors, so like that. If I can get those, and then I can cut this and solder it like that. That is probably what I'm gonna have to do. I was tempted to use these ones, and then I remembered that like the ESCs are broken, so these wires are probably broken too. But I'm just keeping them for reference, just so that I know what they look like. So yeah, time to do some online shopping, I guess, for bullet connectors. Very exciting stuff. I'm still gonna unsolder the ESCs today though, but I might have to wait to install everything until I've actually got the right connectors, the bullet connectors. So yeah, I hope you're enjoying this. I hope this is riveting content for everyone. Me having a breakdown over connectors on ESCs and motors. This is just daily life, you know. Okay, I'll check in again once I've unsoldered everything and done some online shopping. I don't have a stand for my phone yet, so you're currently perching on a 3D printer, but it's fine. It's not switched on, so nothing's gonna happen. I'm currently desoldering. I just figured out how to do it because I hadn't really had to desolder much before. So I found the tool. I found the like vacuum pump. So this is to like put on the solder once it's melted, and then you give it a little and it pulls it out. But the solder wasn't melting, and I was like, that's so strange, why is it doing that? Turns out you have to put some more solder on top before you can melt the old solder. Should I have probably already known that? Yes, but we learn something new every day. So I've done one wire and it took me about 20 minutes. But now that I know how to do it, I can do the rest of the wires. So that's the learning process. I'm gonna show you my setup while I'm soldering. So this is the like extractor. So when I switch this on, we get the air extracted. Any of the fumes that are coming from the solder will go into here. So I've moved that quite close. And as you can see, this is the bit I'm working on. So I managed to get this one off. And there's not that much solder left. I got most of it off, which is good because I don't want it to be touching the connection next to it because that will short circuit it. So I was going to start with this one, but these were like more accessible. So it was just easier to get to them. So I think I'll start with this one and then do this one. These are going to be, I think, easier, to be honest. This is probably actually the hardest one. I don't know why I started with this one first, just because this is in the way. But yeah, I got one off, so time to do the rest. I'll try and get all of them done today and reconnect the ESCs, which I remember that also have to go into this PWM in-out block as well. So I have to remember which ones are which. So I took out number one, which was these connectors. So I think I'm going to put it back now before I lose track of which one's in which one. Yeah, here's a soldering pen. It is switched on right now, so I should probably get back to work before I forget to switch it off, which hasn't ever happened. That's never happened. I'm very careful. So I've got the new ESC on this one, as you can see. This has been plugged into the PWM, which is like connecting all the different inputs to the light controller via here, as you can see. So yeah, that one's done. I also got this one off. I also slightly burnt my finger while I was doing this one, not on the soldering pen, so it's not like 3rd degree burns or anything. I was just holding the like wire too close and it warmed up a bit, but it's fine. So yeah, I'm gonna put on this one now and then try and do these two as well. I'm trying not to get too confused with which ESC corresponds to which number, just because it's easier to do it like one by one, put it exactly as it was before, and not have to worry about whether I'm gonna have to like change stuff in the software as well. So yeah, it's going okay. That's pretty solidly on, as you can see. Pretty happy with that soldering. Hopefully no short circuiting happening there. So yeah, I'll check in again. Okay, time for some soldering. So the first step is to switch the extractor on. Second step is put some solder on the wire. Then clean the soldering pen to get rid of any of excess solder. Then I'm going to hold the wire to the pin on the power distribution board, this time not using my fingers so I don't burn myself. And then melt the solder on to attach the wire to the board. So that's on pretty nicely as it is, but I'm going to put a little bit more on top to make sure that it's fully encased by the solder and that the connection is therefore secure. This bit's always really annoying and tricky because sometimes you put a bit more on and you end up melting the original off and the thing, all of it comes off and you've got to start all over again. But this time I've managed to avoid doing that. So that's nicely covered and done. Pretty neatly, I think. There you go, you can see there, no overlap between the two pins, so pretty good. So that's 2 ESCs done and 2 more to go. So the soldering is done. It's finished. All the ESCs are on, I would show you, but it's just like such a mess. I don't want to pick it up. I'll show you in a second when I show you the setup here. But the next step is to use a multimeter and one of the batteries, drone batteries, here it is, to measure whether the grounds are actually connected to each other and whether the positive voltage terminal and the ground terminals actually have a voltage between them. Because if the grounds aren't connected to each other, then that probably means that there's a short circuit somewhere, and I don't want to risk short circuiting the drone again. And not for a different reason, like that's just embarrassing. At least if I short circuit it again, if I do it for the same reason, at least I'm not adding to the list, you know? Is that worse? Is it worse to short circuit it for more than one reason or for just one reason repeatedly? There's something in there about insanity being doing the same thing multiple times. It's a quote, right? I'm not going to do that though. I'm going to be careful this time. So I'm going to check this as soon as I figure out what terminals are required on the multimeter, because I always forget that. So I'm going to Google it to figure out how to measure the voltage, and then I'm going to stick the battery on and check everything. And I also need to put the radio receiver on. I can't forget to do that because that's also not working. I might as well do it now because the flight controller is actually like reachable. Whereas when I put the top of the drone back on, it's really difficult to get anything plugged into the flight controller because it's like in the middle of a bunch of wires and stuff. So I'm going to do that as well. But let's first check that I haven't short-circuited the power distribution board. Okay, everything's good. I checked every connection, red to red, black to black, red to black, all good. It's all either equivalent to the voltage across the battery or it's 0, as expected. So I'm going to put the batteries away, get the radio receiver on, and then that'll be it for today. And the next thing I can do is order the bullet connectors so I can get the actual motors attached as well. But I can probably start putting the drone back together tomorrow. Just need to worry about the bullet connectors for the motors later on. Might be next week, depends how long they take to get here. So I thought the radio thing was going to be quite a short thing, but turns out no, because this is the radio receiver. As you can see, it's got these 2 ports. I'm going to be using the COM1 port because it has the TX1, RX1, which is the transmitter receiver, and I need it to go into this. So I have to solder these things, and I've also got to figure out what these wires correspond to on these wires. So I'm now Googling what this port is, so I can actually figure out like how to match up this to that. So I'm probably not going to do that today. Happy with progress today, and stay tuned for the next update.